Hey gang, welcome back for another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciated you guys checking the video out today, and hope everybody's having a good day out there. Today I'm going to show you guys sort of my secret color for April jerkbait fishing that I don't think a lot of people use it, because the color I'm going to show you is a custom color. I'm going to explain what it is and the conditions that you need to look for to catch them on when most people are not fishing jerkbaits. This color is the deal for catching them in April and sometimes into early May. So we're going to go over that, but real quick, just before we get started, I just wanted to remind everybody with the weekly update. If you guys are interested in becoming a member of the channel, that's a great way to support what's going on here. As a member, you get additional videos every week that aren't seen by the public, access to my personal email address for your fishing questions, and if you're interested, just go to my YouTube homepage. You can click on Intuitive Memberships or go to the About section there and click on Intuitive Memberships, and it gives you all the info for that. Much appreciated with that. Okay guys, let's talk about this color here, this deal. First of all, I think a lot of people, when it gets into April, they don't consider April being a good jerkbait time. They consider fish, the fish are spawning, close to the spawn, that type of stuff. But there's a window there, because not all the bass are spawning at the same time. Let's say, for example, you've hit it right in the middle of the spawn, and you think that most of the fish on the lake are spawning. Say the water's 63 degrees and it's full moon and a lot of bass are spawning. Still, there's not going to be every bass spawning. There's still going to be a portion of the bass that are in a late pre-spawn phase. Some of the bass are probably already spawned and they're starting to get into the early post-spawn phase. Those are the bass that we're going to focus on targeting with this jerkbait here. So anyway, I'm going to get right into it and show you what to look for. The pattern, guys, is a crappie pattern. This is a white crappie pattern, Megabass Vision 110. You can't buy it like this. A friend of mine, David Ryan, custom painted it. There's also some wraps that you can get, but a lot of times you just have to custom paint it like this. The reason that the crappie pattern is the deal in April is the fact that this is the month that the crappie spawn. Crappie spawn in April in most parts of the country, and they spawn in a lot of the same type of areas that the bass are bedding in, or the bass are getting ready. They're looking for beds in there, or they're in their garden fry. They use the same type of areas, and bass will feed heavily on crappie. They feed heavily on crappie all the time, but in April, there's more bass, or excuse me, there's more crappie up shallow mixed in with those bass than any other time of the year. And that's why you can throw every jerkbait in your box and not get a bite, and you can pull out a crappie pattern and just whack them. So the things that I look for on this time of year, as far as when I'm fishing for a bass with the jerkbait, is there's two different things. The first thing that I'll do is I'll fish the same type of banks that I think the bass are spawning on. Just the flatter banks back in the coves, halfway to all the way back in the coves. Any type of place where I feel the bass are spawning. And I'll just fan cast around those areas from 2 to 10 foot of water, covering water. You can catch them like that. But the thing that I really like to look for is any type of a little subtle secondary point that leads back into a cove. So say, for example, you're working back into a cove where you think the fish are spawning. If you have any small little round, it doesn't have to be obvious. It can be a real subtle and obvious point. That's where they set up a lot. And also, if you get to the back end of those coves where it flattens out, and say the middle of the cove is like 3 to 4 foot of water, you can take the crappie pattern 110 and fan cast it around the back of those coves, and you can catch them like that. Also, the same deal is like after the bass are done spawning, a lot of those fish that have spawned are staying in those same spawning areas. They're garden fry. They hang around in those areas to feed sometimes. A lot of times they'll move back out and they'll set up on those same pre-spawn secondary points in the post-spawn to recuperate after spawning. So it's just a great, you can get them coming and going. With this technique, you're getting pre-spawn spawners and post-spawn bass. So just a quick video, guys. Try to get you some or make you some of the crappie pattern Megabass Vision 110s. I usually fish it on heavy line. For me, I usually fish it on 12-pound test line on the spinning rod. Most of the time I use this on 6 to 8 in the winter, but I'm not looking to get the depth out of it in the spring, so I can use it on 10 to 12-pound test line. But they're pretty easy to paint, or you can check out David Ryan, Dave's Custom Baits. He can do them up there, or you can get, I think there's a deal called a crank wrap. You can get some of that, but a crappie pattern from the factory is hard to get because it's a pretty specialized color that I can promise you they will bite it right now and into early May. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated. And please hit that subscribe button if you haven't. That'd be much appreciated too. We'll talk to you later.